Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to discuss just a couple of things, including, alright, so 9/11 just happened, well, this came back again, another anniversary. And, we have all that, never forget stuff and all that. And I have preached or made videos on my channel giving ideas and facts that 9/11 didn't happen without help. Now, you can choose to believe or not believe in any type of conspiracy. That's on you. But I want to say just keep an open mind, because you're not truly woke and you're not truly wise until you know both sides, right? That's kind of like saying a cop comes up and says, "Did you burglarize this home?" No. Oh, okay. You're free to go. No, you got to investigate stuff in life, guys. You do. You really do. So there's about a 3-hour-long documentary, which I'm not going to play the whole thing, obviously. But I've taken parts of it that are relevant to this video. Excuse me. We want to talk about some parts of 9/11, the migrant journey. You remember that when Trump was running for president the first time. Patented man-made viruses, including AIDS, SARS, Zika, and Ebola, of which somewhere near the end of the video, just for those people that like to cheat and go to the end of the video, somewhere in this video, I'm going to actually show you a website where you can purchase Zika with permits, of course. All right? Why would we be selling that? And the whole point of these various topics is to prove to you that if government officials and people with money are willing to do this, what makes you think they're not willing to do an inside job on 9/11? Just because the planes hit and you saw the planes hit doesn't mean it wasn't an inside job. All it means to you as a standard citizen is that it happened. Okay? But you don't know nothing about nothing until you start doing some research, such as the very large billion-dollar policy that was taken out on the towers right before they collapsed. And how people that were supposed to be there, the ones with money, including the policyholders that were supposed to be there that morning, magically didn't show up. All of them. Convenient, right? We're going to talk about crisis actors, people who play, just like I posted before about looking for professional protesters. And in the fall of the cabal, you will actually see photos, not what I'm showing you, but photos of people running, George Soros' staff, running this whole migrant thing, paying people to be there. And later on in that documentary, it shows that these migrants didn't actually walk at all. They were taken by bus. And then they were stopped, and they all had to get off the bus, and they had to line up, and they had to do the work they were paid for to get photographs and all this, because as you'll see when I play this, they walked barefoot, they walked in sandals, they were spotless clean, they had phones, they were towing wagons, they had baby strollers, they didn't have supplies, they didn't have blankets, they didn't have food for a 4,000-mile journey. But you're telling me things like 9/11 was just an accident? Come on. So let's get into it. And then there'll be parts where it says pause. And, that's what we're going to do when it pauses. Okay. Let's make sure my correct settings are here. All right, here we go. And let's go ahead and let's go ahead and look at this.
What I'm going to do is first of all give you a short overview of things that made me go, things that made me decide to start digging for the truth. 9/11. Whereas one bird can cause terrible damage to a plane, on 9/11, 2 planes managed to cut through steel. A third plane mysteriously disappeared in a building, and number 4 plunged into the earth without leaving any debris or bodies. The planes were piloted by terrorists who only had had a few flying lessons in a small Cessna.
Okay. First of all, the towers were built, and it's public knowledge. Anyone can look it up. The towers were built to withstand an impact of a Boeing 707. I realize most of you are way too young to realize what a Boeing 707 looks like, but it's huge. Very huge, has a humongous weight. It's got 4 engines. The wingspan is large. This was one of the first commercial jets introduced in air travel for people, and you were really something if you flew on one. Steel burns at roughly 2,700 and some degrees Fahrenheit. Jet fuel burns at 1,500 degrees. So physics tells you right there that there's no way these towers came down by the plane impact. And if you look at various videos that I will show later in another video to keep you coming back, the buildings just kind of go like a professional demolition. They didn't just fall. If it had been like hitting a tree, the debris would be everywhere. It would have gone, all over the place. It would have collapsed a lot more buildings. But no, these buildings just, right? But let's say, for sake of argument, that's what really happened. Why was President Bush told about the attacks when he was in a schoolroom in Sarasota? They came up, they whispered in his ear, "It's not, sir." And he just carried on and kept reading to the children. Oh, he didn't want to create panic. If indeed a terrorist organization attacked the United States with one of the planes, Flight 93, that was supposedly headed towards the White House, the warehouse, same thing. They just let him sit there. No, they would have collected his sorry ass, and they would have moved him to protective custody if indeed an attack was made on the United States. They would have gotten his ass on Air Force One immediately. But no, he still stayed there, continued to read to the kids, and he left at his own leisure. There's flag number 1, why the hell this was not just a coincidence. All right, let's continue.
Then there are the horrid attacks on innocent people, in which the same victims can survive up to 3 different attacks. This lucky young man survived being shot in the head. All he needed was a band-aid. And thank God not all victims are people of flesh and blood.
Okay, crisis actors, very common knowledge. You can look it up all over the internet. The guy with Sandy Hook, he came out, the father, and they showed him before they aired the actual interview that he was laughing. People say, well, people grieve differently, but if you look at this laughter, it was like, haha, we had students that testified they saw multiple gunmen. We had the coroner who played around. That's, again, another video. The school has, though I haven't been able to find out for sure, but the school has been apparently reported as non-existent, then existent. We don't know. We saw several photographs of children that were supposedly supposed to have been dead in this thing, and standing next to Obama months later. The point is that when things like this happen, you have to do your research, and you have got to dig in. You got to keep an open mind. Okay, so let's move on.
Okay, Let's have a look at the Migrant Caravan. Thousands of people fled their South American homes to look for a better future in the US. The trip covered 2,000 miles in 1.5 months in order to be on time for the American midterm elections as a political statement against President Trump. This means they walked an average of 45 miles a day on flip-flops, barefoot, like this and like this. 45 miles a day?
Notice how clean they were? Now, I can tell you from experience walking around the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World in tennis shoes with socks that are wet because I've been on Splash Mountain or sweating for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 miles that I couldn't move for a week. I can tell you after my 12-mile march in basic training with 100 pounds of crap on my back in army boots, I was down for 2 weeks. Blisters the size of quarters. And you're telling me these people walked barefooted in sandals, that one bitch had sandals and socks on for 45 miles a day? And that little girl had those little princess shoes on? No. Again, it goes on to show that they were actually driven by bus. Hence why, if you remember the reports of how close the migrants were getting each day, closer and closer and closer. It also shows them playing with phones. They're all fat as fuck. None of them have supplies. Yet they managed to walk 4,000 miles to the United States border to make a political statement. No. George Soros funded this. His organization led it. And he decided because he didn't like Trump, he was going to cause a problem for Trump. And Trump dealt with it. Right? I can tell you from personal experience, and anyone else who served in the military and even did 12 miles, your feet were fucked. You're going to tell me they did all this in sandals and they're not dirty, ain't got dirt on them, they ain't had a bath, they're towing a wagon. Some of them have brand new baby strollers. Very few of them have any kind of backpack, and if they do, they're the standard size that you go for school and they're brand new. Really? We have pictures of movie stars in this crowd? Come on. All right, let's move on.
Did you know that diseases such as AIDS, Zika, SARS, and Ebola are actually patented? Do you know when something is patented? When it's man-made. Man-made diseases. Are you kidding me?
All right, for those of you that think that those are made-up numbers and patents and everything else, here we go. Here is patent number 4464465A, cell-driven viral transfer in eukaryotes. I can't even pronounce that. All right, basically what this is a very formal scientific report on AIDS. There is the second patent, serological detection of antibodies to the HTLV3 in sera patients with AIDS and pre-AIDS conditions. This somewhat patents the Western blot test, but if you go through, and I'll have the links in the description, if you go through and actually read it and use Google to find out things that you don't know what it means. In other words, that means don't text me and ask me because I'm not going to explain it to you. You're going to have to do your own research. The invention relates to the detection of antibodies in sera of AIDS and pre-AIDS patients and describes the biochemical and immunological analysis of, okay, so you can see there. Here is the Ebola patent 2012-025-1502. Why are you patenting viruses that are supposedly nature? Here's the SARS patent. That's number 7897744. Now we get into the good stuff. Zika. Patent number ATCC VR84. These permits may be required for shipping this product. Customers located in the state of Hawaii will need to contact the Hawaii Department of Agriculture to determine if import permit is required. Copy of the permit or documentation of that permit is not required must be sent to ATCC in advance of shipment. Now, I'm sure as a standard citizen, you're not able to buy this virus. But if you're a for-profit organization, one vial will cost you $593. If you're nonprofit, it will cost you $504. Right, this is a Zika virus. It's supposed to be in nature, spread by mosquitoes, yada, yada, yada. I know that, CDC has these viruses, etc. But we're actually able to purchase Zika, and there's the full website, atcc.org. You can purchase this, and it goes on to basically let you buy it. So if you had the right permits, is what I'm saying, if you had the right permits and you were the right person, you could buy these vials and do a lot of damage. All right, let's move on.
Hillary Clinton admitted that she deleted 33,000 emails from a private server used as Secretary of State. Not only that, she used a hammer to smash her cell phones, SIM cards, and hard drives. Any further evidence that could have been used against her in a court of law was destroyed by fire that conveniently started in the office of a mansion. Did she actually get away with that?
All right, so we all know about the Hillary scandal, and we all know that Hillary has been in politics for a very long time. And don't think for one second that that bitch does not have any kind of interaction or influence on any type of modern day events. She's been corrupt since she was born, okay? Secondly, it's real funny that the evidence of these emails was burned up in her home. Oh, you don't know that? Yeah, we do. They found that information. That's why she was never brought to justice. That was in 2018. Remember, Trump during his campaign said during one of the debates that when he gets elected, the first thing he's going to do is send her to jail. Well, that never happened. It never happened because they couldn't find the evidence. There are some emails on the FBI or CIA website that most of it's blacked out. So reading those emails doesn't do you a lot of good. Right? But Julian Assange, he put that information out, and it got her in a corner. The point of this video is if all these things can actually happen that I just fucking showed you, don't think for a second that the government of sweet and innocence got your back. And I'll finalize that by the fact that you got a daggone stimulus check in April, and you ain't had another one yet, and you ain't going to get one. Because they're going to drag that out because the elections are coming. Pelosi herself even said she's going to stall the entire thing because it will make her look better in the election. She said it. That's why Trump has put these executive orders out, but he cannot actually execute them because he knows he doesn't have permission or the authority to do that. He can make up any executive order he wants. He cannot actually execute it because he has to have congressional approval. So, like I said, they've been bickering back and forth and everything else, but for those of you that believe that the government's sweet and innocent and they got your back, how come the hell you ain't had a stimulus check? Well, because they know deep down it ain't going to do you any good. You've gone from April, May, June, July, August, and now almost September. Managed to pay your bills. You're not homeless, and you've got food to eat. That's why they're not sending you one. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.